Oh, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 410 of FloWrestling Radio Live. I'm your host, Christian Piles, joined as always and forever. And today, finally, he's back. His name is Willie Saylor. He's coming at you from the basement in Easton, PA. Willie, you're back. How are you?
I'm back. A little groggy. I thought I was good yesterday, but maybe it's setting in now. Nomad, how you doing with acclimation camp?
As I stated on Twitter, I am tech following reacclimation to the USA. I'm 100% back on Central U.S. American time zone. I feel tired, but I am completely back in the rhythm of U.S. time zone.
There's not a human body designed more to buck the trends of jet lag than Daniel Roy Lobdell Jr., who sits to my left. The Wrestling Nomad was born to travel internationally because his sleep schedule's no schedule.
That's correct.
Yeah. But you know what? We had it's tough to fly back so many hours. It took 36 hours to get back for me, probably a little more for Nomad, and different time zones and stuff. When we first got off the plane, me and Nomad had an argument whether it was 9 a.m. or 2 p.m. I was like, no, this isn't right. This is not right.
Who was
Actually,
right? Was it 9 a.m. or 2 p.m.? Oh, my God.
It was Nomad was right. It was 2 p.m. I don't know how that happened, but we don't know how it happened either. When we went there, Bader was like, "It's Thursday," and we were like, "No, there's no way. It's Friday," and Bader was right.
Well, that was the thing, because on our last show, you were like, Thursday's not even going to exist. We're just going to be on a plane that whole day. But it was actually a day before, because I woke up on Thursday and you guys had already been in the venue and like done stuff at that point. I was totally confused the entire time, to the point that I didn't even know if you guys were going to be back for this, because you guys stayed an extra day for the UWW grappling tournament. And I was like, I don't know what it is, but I guess it's who knows? I don't know. Time zones are confusing.
We had it. So it's a long time, and it's a long time traveling, but we had it relatively easy. Other than me and Nomad had to sprint basically across all of Moscow to get on our connecting flight. We had about 45 minutes, and 45 minutes to get on our next flight, and we just barely did it. We walked the whole time. But my point is, a lot of the freestylers and like all of the women's freestyler, all the women, they had massive delays. Flights canceled overnight at airports, didn't get back till 2 days later.
Yeah, I saw Jenna Burkett was tweeting, and she's having all these issues getting back. It felt so bad. It's like, I guess it would have been worse if it had been on their trip to Kazakhstan, because like they're competing at Worlds. But it's terrible at the end of a tournament to have to go through that. So that stunk. So pumped to have you guys back straight away. He's sitting there. He's with the Bronco and the Eagle of Freedom, Stephen Kyle Brackey, now the proud owner of Amish Crib 3000, the deluxe edition. Does it have like an MP3 port or anything like that?
No, it was made by the Amish.
That was the joke, man. I know.
Okay, so I missed a couple things. So I guess the point is that you have a crib because you're to be a father, and so you got a crib, and it was Amish made. Is that why people are making jokes?
Yeah, when Olivia and I went back to Parkersburg for the week, we drove up to Sugar Creek, Ohio, where the Amish live, and make very nice furniture and things. And,
high quality furniture, the Amish.
Yeah, they really do, all by hand. So, and we ordered it in like July and just got it.
Okay, and the second thing I missed, I'm sure there's more than two things I missed.
This is pretty much
the second thing I missed, for sure, is that what happened with you and Casey Kreider? Did you denounce the Broncos?
No, Brackey wasn't on the show, so I literally lied to America. I just said that because Casey asked if he was going to renounce it, and I said, since he's not here, I just have to assume that he is, and he's no longer a Packers fan. He loves the Broncos.
Gotcha.
So yeah,
that was tough. Casey asked me to predict the score, and I had to do it, and obviously I'm going to pick the Packers, but I was actually really close to getting the score right. I said 24-13, And at one point, it was 24-10. Final score ended up being 27-16. But shout out to Casey, who was a captain for the game.
Captain Casey, we now call him.
And was literally out there at midfield right across from Aaron Rodgers. So really cool stuff.
Sometimes Pro Bowlers listen to our show. It's pretty cool.
Did they name Casey's Pizza after Casey Kreider?
No.
Tell him yes. He might eat it.
He might have been named after Casey's Pizza.
Oh my God!
What if he was?
I know he's a big fan of it.
Yeah, he's an everyman. So, okay. That's some shenanigans. Glad you guys are back. Let's get to some odds and ends. You guys were on the ground during Worlds. We obviously have given much of our thoughts on men's freestyle specifically. Just curious for your thoughts. You guys were there. I'm sure you have some stories. The vibe in the arena as USA had some ups and downs throughout this tournament.
I wrote a little thing up, my kind of notes to it, mostly about the event itself and not, the shenanigans that go on, the anecdotes that go on outside the arena. But I didn't get to listen to the show. I thought our performance was good. I thought we need to close out matches better. And I think that's something that we'll get cleaned up before Tokyo, and it's probably a good thing if we get knocked down a peg. And I mean, in my view, we tried to milk leads late and went from the hunter to the hunted, and we got caught for it a couple times. James Green, Dayton Fix,
Jordan
was a little different, but yeah, same. So there's that. I mean, I think the biggest takeaway for me of the event itself is that we talked about the it's $2.5 million to host a Worlds, and is that 2.5 million US dollars or Swiss francs? I don't know. It's probably about
basically the same. It's like a 1-for-1 exchange rate.
The point is that the
exchange rates.
It was one of the best ran Worlds. It was probably the best ran Worlds that I've been to, including Vegas, and I think they did a lot to promote it. I think everything was done right. I think getting 2.5 million, to me it's like just a symbolic gesture that you have to be all in. You have to be working for it and invested to make something go right, and I think they did that.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, guys. I keep clearing my throat. I would highly recommend everybody read Willie's thoughts, the article that he wrote yesterday, column, whatever you want to call it. I thought he broke down a lot of things really well. I was really personally proud with the coverage we did on the ground there and all the content we put out for you guys, and I hope everyone back home enjoyed it. And for me, who's only been to 2 World Championships, one in a Western European country of Paris, France, and one in Central Asia, I thought this was awesome. We had media had food the whole time. There was 6,000 outlets and Wi-Fi, and everyone had access to do all the work the whole time. Right, the media was very well accommodated. The arena was awesome. It was in Barris Arena, which is a continental hockey league, which is like mainly Russian teams, but it's like the number 2 hockey league in the world. It's a arena that most fans would kind of compare to maybe a little small for NCAA's, but roughly about that size for what NCAA venues like. And the crowds for Greco were very good, and the crowds for freestyle were awesome. The women were a little down. I think partially a lot of that had to do with the fact that it was the middle of the week and people were working, but the freestyle crowd, I mean, it was basically sold out, and I think it would have been sold out. I think it would have been filled to the rafters had Snyder Sedge Live happened.
Well, it looked like $1 million just watching it live. The arena looked really good, the blue, and you could basically every shot was showing lots of people there. So,
Christian, I wrote this yesterday. This pros and cons. I don't know if you got a chance to read it. But one of the things I said was that I thought everything was great. Thumbs up for sure. But I think the worst part about it, and it's nitpicky, I don't want to overshadow how awesome it was, but if you pick a con, I think that the biggest con by far was how long the days are. I mean, if you are and I said in the article, I'm not trying to say, I'm not taking this from a journalist perspective. I'm not saying that UWW has to appease me or journalists or anybody, but it goes beyond journalists, and it goes to the coaches and the wrestlers and the administrators and the NGPs and the executives and the volunteers on the ground and the table workers and the officials, because they don't start till 11. And then there's these mini breaks, which really don't leave you time to do anything. Anyway, even from a fan's perspective, you basically have to be locked in for like 10 hours. You have to be dialed in. And I just think they could make some changes. Weigh in an hour earlier, start an hour earlier, run double, semis and bronze matches run at the same time, and you're cutting your time down by a third. And then you get out. And then, because everybody gets out of there at 9, 10 o'clock, and then it's wash and repeat. So
for a week,
it sucks the life out of you, man.
Yeah, that is intense. I mean, just being here and watching, it's like you do a long round, and then basically you can take a quick 45-minute nap maybe, and then you back. It's starting again. Repechage is beginning, and semis are starting, and so I can imagine that's a lot. You can't go out and get a bite to eat if you're a fan or whatever. There's the round the round would end, and then there would be an hour break. But that hour break, I was running up to the draws watching them and getting them for the wrestlers. Then I was coming down and working on the draws article, which, basically I'm looking up in the database every guy in the bracket to make sure I have my facts straight. And so it looks like a break, but there's really not a break. And that's not just for me. That's the coaches. Somebody has to be representative in the draw thing. You know what I mean? So it's for everybody. It's really, it's nonstop. Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know how you fix it though. Starting earlier, I could see, maybe that buys you an hour here, hour there, but at the end of it, it's 10 weights, right? 10 weights times 3.
There's a couple things. So starting earlier, borrowing something from folkstyle, which is when a mat ends, if mat A is over and mat B still has 8 matches left, move some of those freaking matches over. That's a weird thing. I'm fine with, I really am fine with quarterfinals starting at the same time. However, if you're going to do that, take matches that haven't already happened and move them over, because you have wait time built in. That is a rule that you have wait time built in. So if you have any concerns about that,
just a little bit of advice from Pete Isaias, because Pete Isaias will get stuff done quick.
Yeah, no joke.
Okay, so what about wrestling? What are we gonna talk about? Do you want to talk about anything in Worlds?
I would love to.
Well, we kind of already did it, so I'm just kind of looking to you guys. I'm not saying show. I just want. I mean, obviously, I can give you the cliff notes of what we discussed. So,
all right, I'll start. Will, if that's okay.
Yeah.
And I won't do the long version because it's 9 days, and if you want to read my thoughts, I typed for 16 hours a day on the computer. So go back and read my live stream of consciousness notes from Match Notes.
Love live streams of consciousness.
But starting off with Greco, I don't know, and I know you guys talked about this. I don't know kind of where the American disappointment came from. We haven't been performing super well in Greco over the last few years, and this was, as a team, the number of guys that won matches, the competitiveness that we showed in matches, the fact that we had leads. We had leads. This is both good and bad. We had leads in, I believe, 6 or 7 of the matches that we lost to knock our guys out. So, yes, similar to something we just talked about in men's freestyle, it's extremely frustrating to not close out matches. However, it also shows that you are on the level, that you're winning in the second period, 2 minutes left, a minute left, that you can hang with them and get to round 16, get to the quarterfinals, and do those things. So, yes, in my opinion, Greco did show progress. And no, they didn't score as many team points as last year because Adam Kuhn took advantage of an incredible draw and wrestled his butt off last year. But as a whole, I thought I was pretty happy with what Greco did.
That was our sentiment as well. It's like they're winning a lot more matches than they did a year ago. The main variable is the medal that didn't happen, but draws matter, which was another thing that became a big topic of discussion once you guys left. But draws mattered.
What did we finish, Nomad, as a team and women?
In women, men and women, we both finished third.
Yeah, I thought the women wrestled really good. I think that I really thought going in that we had a shot to win the whole dang thing.
We read that.
I didn't, and I think, if you wrestle that tournament over, different draws too, I still think that we probably have the ability to. Ali Reagan getting pinned, that's a game changer, right? That's a lot. That's you're taking something. That could be the difference in 20, 25 points. I mean, she's good enough to make a final, and stuff happens, and she doesn't. But I thought we wrestled well in women's division. Whitney Kinder had a horrible draw, and Sarah Hildebrandt had a horrible draw. And now you say you got to make it happen anyway. But I think we're right there. I'm feeling pretty good about the women.
And then something for both the men and the women. Well, for all three styles, but just as it relates to the team race specifically for the men and the women. Something that I thought going in, I think a lot of us thought going in, the non-Olympic weights were crucial for us. Mm-hmm. The non-Olympic weights where in men, I believe we scored, 70% of our team points from the non-Olympic weights. And part of that's because the weights are, let's just be honest, the weights are weaker than the Olympic weights. Just because of the way the rest of the world perceives the value of qualifying for the Olympics. That's out of our control. But then within our control, we sent the best possible guys that we could send, the best possible women that we could send at those weights. And it showed by the fact that we scored a whole bunch of team points. Russia got second in women primarily because of non-Olympic weights.
I'm not bashful about, we scored our points in the non-Olympic weights because that shows depth. I mean, we have depth that a lot of other countries don't have. I mean, Russia sends. We're outplacing Russia at 79. We're outplacing Russia at 92. So I don't care. Same thing in women. Japan doesn't have they don't have the depth they usually have.
Yeah, they look vulnerable headed into 2020. It's gonna be.
Well, and that was a really interesting thing. So, okay, first of all. So when we going to check in, and Willie can speak to this better than I can, but going to check in, apparently sometimes it can, to get your credential, sometimes it can take 20 minutes, sometimes it can take 6 hours. We were in and out, got our credential, but while we were looking through, so there's 4 stacks of media credentials, one whole stack was Japan.
Really?
Yeah. Yes.
At 4 stacks, one of them was just Japan.
Yeah.
It was insane.
Which is partially Japan does an excellent job. The media there cover wrestling very well, and then obviously the second part is leading into Tokyo next year, and knowing that it's an Olympic qualifier, they were on extra high alert. But yeah, Japan. So they qualify 5 of the 6 women's weights, and then the one where they don't is the one where there was this whole not controversy, but 2-time defending champ Yui Sasaki didn't make the team. And we talked about this on a previous show. When you medal in Japan at an Olympic weight, you're the rep for next year, right? So that was one of the weights where they didn't, and that's going to be kind of interesting going forward. But yeah, I thought the women's wrestling was great, and then for USA, I know you guys recapped it, but I'm looking forward to us discussing Olympic qualifying going forward, because along with us scoring a lot of points in non-Olympic weights, USA only got 4 out of 18 Olympic spots qualified, which is even worse than we did in
How about
Vegas.
How about the Western Hemisphere only 2 nations qualified?
Yeah.
I mean, that's half the globe.
Yeah.
United States had 2, Colombia had 1. Pretty insane.
None for Cuba. At least
that's second straight.
Yeah.
Well, wait.
Nomad pointed out that's a second straight year before the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, they qualified in Greco, didn't they?
No,
He's saying men's freestyle.
I'm saying in 2015, which was a qualifier for the Olympics, Cuba qualified 0 in Vegas. 2019, year before the Olympics, Cuba qualified 0. It's sort of crazy.
It is. It's weird that they didn't send it 57. And I was just thinking maybe we can segue in this way for our thinking about Team USA's prospects for qualifying men's freestyle. I was thinking about 65. And, okay, we got Tobier, who's clearly very good, 2-time world medalist. But what if Pico comes back and goes 65? How much harder then does it become for us to send? And, and we've seen Zane.
What, you mean if he goes for Mexico?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like, I think, more than a rumor at this point. It's something that is, could very potentially happen. Now, 65, I'm still like, is he really going to go that weight? Especially when you consider the path to Olympic qualification would be so much easier at 74 for Aaron.
Yeah.
I mean, because Jordan's out, Cuba, right? It's just like
Jordan's out.
Franklin Gomez.
Cuba has a guy that's like 42 years old.
But he's still
he's still salty.
Keep getting them checks, Garzone, because that guy can wrestle still. He's timeless. So I think it's gonna be tough to get these weights qualified. I think we got a good shot to do it. I'm curious what the selection process is gonna look like, specifically at 86. Who do we send there to Pan Ams? I know we're looking ahead a little bit, but yeah.
Did you how do they determine who goes? Like, is
last
Zane
time
going?
Last time it was basically our world team from 2015. We sent Herbert. Remember, I was mad then because I was like, we know he can't beat this guy. He can't beat Salas. He's had like 12 cracks. It's never happened. Send someone else. And they sent him and he didn't. And then, fortunately, Jaden was able to get it qualified at a later time. But yeah, I'm pretty sure we sent all our reps from 15 that were able.
Did you guys so that should be interesting. Did you guys discuss anything about who goes what weight, which is very speculative at this point? But
we talked about it. We talked about Dake and how it's identical situation to 2016 that led him up to 86. It's open at 86. There's a guy sitting out at 74. And, he wasn't specific, but the implication was like that he's going down. But, I mean, that's still a guess to me because he very much – all of the things that happened this year happened 4 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So part of me thinks, okay, well, what is different in 2020 that was not there in 2016? I don't know the variable other than we all know that 74 is a more natural weight for Kyle, right? And that he's more likely to win that weight. But again, that was true in 2016. Everyone knew he was too small for 86, right? And he still almost made the team. And he took a match from Jaden Cox, who won bronze. Kyle Dake's a freak.
I think that's my take on it is Kyle, I think the 2 years of experiencing 79 kilos and how it is a better weight for him, probably maybe the best weight for him, leads him to believe that I should not look at making the team. I should look at where I feel the best about myself and what weight will be better for me where I will be able to perform to the best of my abilities.
Yeah.
Because obviously Kyle Dake thinks he can make both because he's Kyle Dake, because he's amazing, because he has wins over all these guys. But if I'm Kyle Dake, I think my body would feel better at 74 than at 86.
Mm-hmm.
What were your thoughts on Jaden, who I think is probably the biggest wild card?
He is.
As far as what weight? As far as
we, I think, gun to all our heads, we think he's probably going down, but I don't understand it. I don't think he should.
I don't.
I think you think he's going up.
Well, okay. Yeah, I guess you're right. Yes. I think he's going up. To me, it doesn't make much sense. The man The
But
man
what doesn't
made
make much sense?
That he would go down.
Yeah.
It doesn't make much sense to me from the standpoint of the man made 86 on a day before weigh-in and said, never again. Absolutely not. That's not going to happen. That was terrible. That was the worst experience of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And now, a few years later, he's going to say, I'm not saying he's
right.
This,
I know what you mean.
A few years later, for him to say, yeah, I can go to 86 and make it back-to-back days, day of, that would shock me.
Yeah.
Now, I think there's been a lot of changes to Jaden in the sense that he looks like he's enjoying the sport more. Like a few years ago, he looked agitated and like ticked off, and now he's happy. He seems to be enjoying it more. I think I asked him at Beat the Streets, "Are you in a better? It seems like you're in a better place than ever." And he said, "Yes." He said, "Absolutely, that's 100% true." I think his nutrition is better. I think we've all heard anecdotes about, Jaden. Jaden at one point was whatever he wanted to. He'd hit the McDonald's drive-thru once in a while, and now he's like focused. I mean, he's doing everything right. So maybe his body is smaller. Maybe the environment is better for him to drop down. Day of weigh-ins, back to back. I don't know.
Why? Okay, you're Jaden Cox, and this may be a little redundant if you listen to the last show, but you're Jaden Cox. You're one of the most physically gifted wrestlers we've ever seen. Why? You can go up and you can beat Snyder, and maybe you're the one guy that's walking the earth right now that can beat Sadulayev. If it's not him, I don't know who it could be, right? If there's one person in the world that can do it, I think it's him at this point.
Yeah.
He's certainly the most likely. So why would you come down and potentially there's something completely out of your control, right? How your body's going to react to this weight cut. I'm sure he can physically hit 86.0 kilograms. What happens after that is what concerns me the most, and I think is a risk not worth taking.
Do you think that maybe – I don't know. I think he goes up. I think the move is to go up. I think it's a smart play. But for him, if he wants to test the waters, do you think maybe the move is to go to a ranking series event and do the 2-day, see what happens?
I think he 100% should do that. I really do. I think you've got to know how you're going to feel. I mean, in 2017 in Paris, he attributed part of, he said the weight was a big problem for him. He was at Paris, he was having a hard time coming down. I remember Division I wrestling. 197 was really hard. There are times he's down to the wire making 197. He never missed weight, but it wasn't easy for him. Now we're talking, 189 and a half. That's going to be really tough for him. I don't understand the move to go down. Perhaps there's just different nutritional approaches he's going to be able to take, and he really feels confident he's going to be able to go down. I think we'll have the decision soon. He said he will internally have made the decision within the next week or so, I believe. And it's very possible he's already made his mind up that he's going down. And, people, after we've been speculating about it, people hit me up that seem to think they're in the know, said he's coming down.
I think he's coming down. I, of course, have questions about it. For me, the thing is Jaden very clearly likes to focus on himself in his wrestling, right? He doesn't like to watch film, and he doesn't like. Don't tell me what the other guy does, right? If I wrestle the best of my abilities, I'm going to beat them no matter what their best techniques are, no matter which way they go, whatever. And so for Jaden to add something to his mind, right, which cutting that weight is going to be something that is going to have to be heavy on his mind at all times. That, I think, it could potentially be the biggest hindrance to Jaden Cox's performance. However, this guy is probably the first or second best wrestler in the world, and
you think so?
Yeah. I have never. Selfishly, I want to see Jaden Cox wrestle Sadulayev because I've never seen personally live anyone do the things those two can do in a wrestling match, and I think it would be one of the most incredible things I've ever
scores?
seen.
How does anyone score in that match? It's gonna be like it could be a horrible match. It's going to be a 1-1 shot clock.
That is very possible because Sadulaev's legs, you don't touch them.
No.
You do not touch that man's legs. And then Jaden, good Lord. Jaden with the when the guy was in the leg lace, I'm sure you guys talked about this. How strong, I don't even know I can't conceptualize what muscles that you use to keep yourself off the mat. I imagine it was every single thing, arms, back, core, but that's not normal. That takes such body awareness, strength, mental willpower. Goodness gracious.
Yeah. So that's what we discuss with Jaden.
United States has clearly the most depth of any nation from 74 up, right? I mean, we're talking about world champions not making the thing. We're talking about world medalists not making the team.
We can have multiple world champions on the team. We will have multiple world champions on the team.
Just factually speaking.
Factually speaking, we will have 2 world champions not on the team.
I don't like the Snyder to 125 talk.
No, I kind of tried to squash that on my own last show, but feel free to add to the squash.
I imagine it's all the same things, but just, guys, that is 28. Do you know what 28 kilos is? And no, most of those guys probably aren't a full 125. But do you understand that is 50, 60 pounds?
Yeah.
And Kyle Snyder is 5'9", and Akul and these guys are 6'2".
Listen, Dan was just in Kazakhstan. He stood next to all these guys. It's no way. It's not happening.
Willie stood next to Mihan Lopez at the airport.
That was a great picture.
Oh, my Lord.
If he would have took my bag, there would have been problems. If he would have touched it.
Hands on sight, dude. Yeah. So I think he's too small. How about Taha Akul? Him and Musakayev need to get together and just figure out how to finish matches.
Yeah.
4-0, he just looks great. And he did that one exchange where he got rolled through on the count. He just stopped wrestling. He just hung on the leg there and hopefully Gino doesn't try a thing. And Gino's like, oh, well, let's go.
That is the 3rd time I've watched him melt down against Patrice Bailey.
Why don't they get them treadmills or something? Somebody get Taha.
They don't need a treadmill. They need no technology for this.
He didn't used to have this issue. It was 14 to 16.
Well, no. He's
had it for a little bit, man.
He had that Euro break. The first breakdown I saw
was the Euro one, yeah.
Yes, I think that was 2015 or 16.
Where Patrice Bailey's uncle jumped over the thing and hugged him on the mat.
It was quite a moment. But to me, it's that rivalry just comes down to, I think Gino is just a little bit tougher mentally.
Yeah.
Right? He's not as good at wrestling, I don't think. But
Agel beat him in Euros kind of soundly or
7-0.
Yeah.
7-0.
This guy peaks when it matters most.
So that's another thing. First of all, Musakayev, super awesome that this dude gets hosed in 2016,
he really
never
did.
makes the team, and then wins a medal in his first real shot at Worlds. That was cool to see.
No, man.
What's up, buddy?
Tell Christian the record of former wrestlers that left Russia that then wrestled a Russian at Worlds. Tell him the record.
It is this quad 17-0.
So all the defectors beat the Russians?
No, opposite.
No. Other way.
Well, you would expect it to be slanted that direction.
Yeah,
but 17-0. But the rumor is that there is a gentleman's agreement that if you defect from Russia,
you cannot win.
You are not allowed.
Well, so far they're keeping up their end of the bargain.
Yeah. So I guess the moral of the story is, don't expect a former Russian wrestler to beat. I mean, just count it out. It's not going to happen. They're not going to do it.
Do the Americans get in on this? Mitas can't beat Dane Fix,
Well,
Amin
here's
can't
the thing.
beat Pat Downey. Let's get in on that.
We don't break people's arms if they disobey.
Yeah, but the last one to beat the last former Russian to beat a Russian, an active Russian, was 2016 Rio. Zasiv beat Makov. So I'm pretty sure the numbers I came up with were 17-0 this quad, so 17, 18, 19, and then 28-4 since 2012. Anyway, sitting with the whole week, we were sitting in front of the Dagestan group. So Coach Gaidarov, who used to be Chimizo's personal coach and is like one of the most respected coaches in Dagestan. And it is just so. First of all, those guys are awesome. They asked to take a picture with us. That was really cool. But second of all, it is so very obvious that Dagestani stick together, because that guy was going nuts anytime Dagestani was on the mat in like a big match, like a medal match. That guy Nurov,
even if they were wrestling
Macedonia.
for like Macedonia, yeah.
Yeah. So
did you have to remind him there's no cheering on press row? As a graduate of JMU's journalism
It
school?
sounds like that's not a thing at UW events. Like, you can cheer on press row, Nomad?
I mean, we definitely were in ways that we were not when I was there in Paris.
Really?
I think a ref got kicked out.
Did you just feel emboldened? What got into you? Why do you think
being on the 5th floor as opposed to being on the floor is a big difference.
Got it. Yeah, that is a big difference.
Right? But yeah, the Dagestani stick together. So like that match I'm talking about, it was a North Macedonian wrestling for a medal, who was originally Dagestani, and it was Gaidarov and Musakayev now for Hungary, next to each other, high-fiving, going crazy when he won. So it's very obvious that when you leave Russia, there's no like animosity. We're still boys.
Yeah, everyone gets it. Definitely get it with Musakayev.
It is just.
You were going to talk about Musakayev though.
No, just that the Dagestanis were going crazy when he medaled.
I like talking
just
about his antics, not so much.
He was very
national
antic-filled.
loyalty. JD Raider, shout out to him. He put up the top 10 moments of Musakayev's world, and when number 10 is a 360 double against Kinchikishvili, you know it's a fire list. This man it's more the antics that I'm here for. Just the faking injuries. He pretended his groin area suffered of injury for a really, really long time. He acts like he's dead. Then he does backflips after he wins. I just love him.
That's one thing they got to get rid of, right?
I can't hear Willie now. I wish he'd come back.
You can't?
I've got him.
You hear him?
That's one thing.
Oh, I hear him.
That's one thing they definitely got to get rid of. I mean, UWW, their policies, procedures, rules, etc., they keep trending in the right direction. But one thing they got to for sure address is guys not getting back to the center. I mean, you got to ding them.
Well, what is stopping anyone from ever taking an injury time?
Right.
Yeah, I very much thought that was a point.
When you take injury time?
Yeah, but that is clearly not the case.
Not a point. Not a point.
I was gravely mistaken.
Gravely.
Hey.
Now he's dead.
So, are we going to switch gears? Are we done with the world stuff right now?
For now, yeah.
I have a question for you guys, because I'm kind of out of the loop. Is something going on with Kirkfleet? What happened?
Dude, he's wrestling right away.
He's wrestling? Good.
Singletary down to 197.
Really?
Wait.
No.
Hold on. That doesn't make sense. Colin Moore.
The Colin Moore's ranked number 1 in the country.
Scratch that. Singletary to 285.
Maybe 286. Maybe bump him
I'll
up.
go back to. They might get 2.
He's wrestling 220.
So Kirkfleet's wrestling, huh?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Well, he said on the Steelwood Radio, he said he weighs about 230 right now, and that he's still going to U23 Worlds in October. So I doubt we see him that first few weeks of the season.
He's
but
so big.
We saw him in Akron. When we saw him in Akron, we were like, "Oh my god,
Looks
this
like
dude
a
got
rush in."
big." Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, how do we think he's gonna do? Is he in the? I think he's in the mix. Like, I think one, they wouldn't send him if he wasn't. You have to figure because Singletary's quality. 2.
Do you think he's?
2 years ago, he lost to Gable by a point.
Yeah.
Maybe 2.
Do you think he's
beat
in the
Jordan
mix?
Wood in Akron,
That's a good point.
who's ranked 3rd.
Yeah. Do you think he's in the mix senior level?
Okay, well, if for me to say I think he's in the in this instance, if you think he's in the mix to win a title at 285 NCAA, I think you have to say he's in the mix to make the Olympic team. We're not amazing there. We've got Gwiz is the guy, but Gable is clearly right there. I think Kassar's a factor 2020. 100%. I think that guy is 100% a factor at 20. That's why I'm really surprised he's wrestling collegiately this year, although it seems like Penn State's got a plan to make it all work, right? I think he'll be in the mix. I think Gable's in the mix, and maybe we'll see. I think Kirk Fleet is just like maybe experience a little bit. He's missed some time with injury, and he is young, right? But I don't see those guys like Tech following him in freestyle. I think those are competitive matches. I think he's really hard to take down. Yeah, I think he's in the mix 2020.
John Foster, who does some freelance stuff for us, writes some articles, and he's a big guy, right? So he's always 197, 220 high school, 285 heavyweights. He's all in on. He's like, that's his thing. He watches tape on that. But he's like, man, round of 16 at NCAA, it's going to be as good as it ever was. I mean, the matchups are going to be awesome, right?
No, it's going to be a really fun year at heavyweight.
So, Ohio State lately seems as though they are very much, no matter what, put the best guy out. Redshirts be damned, long term be damned. And there's some sense to that, right? Because we talk about, the jimmying of rosters and kind of looking ahead. All right, 2021, maybe, this team's weak, so we can make a push for a trophy. But there's also, you have no earthly idea what injuries can look like, how people can progress, if, how guys are going to grow. And so I think Ohio State's thing now is just, this is what we know we have right now. This could change completely in 365 days. So right now, let's put our best team out there and roll.
Also, there's, from that standpoint, and I was always kind of against that. I mean, seems counterintuitive, to not plan. It seems counterintuitive to not say, well, let's hold this guy back and so we're better for the future. But at this point, they get a number 1 or number 2 recruiting class every year. So they're going to get somebody. And Kirk Fleet, it's not like, we should save Kirk Fleet for the future because, we want to have him as our heir apparent. No, they're going to get somebody else. By the time Kirk Fleet's done, they'll have another stud.
Yeah.
And that'll happen at about every weight.
Yeah. So does that put Ohio State, they're putting their chips in the middle, it seems.
Yeah.
Are they in the mix this year to contend?
I think it's
going to be hard. I feel like no. I feel like they're going to have talent
too.
Every weight, but
holy crap.
I think it depends on what their upper middle does. Like their 65-74. I think it's largely dependent upon those guys because we know basically what they have everywhere else. But they have some young guys and some inconsistent guys.
Well, 25, I don't think they're going to score big points. Pletcher is perennially, he's going to be a top 5 guy, but he's not going to be Seth Gross. 41, kind of a question mark. Is Keyshawn coming down? Is it going to be Kinner? 49, they're going to be great with Sasso. 57, who are they looking at there? Is it going to be Elijah Cleary or someone else? 65, 74, we getting Rocky Jordan involved somewhere? Is it Romero? Is it Ethan Smith at 65?
I heard Rocky's big.
That's where I'm at. 57, 65, 74. I think that they will go as far as they make progress at those weights.
Yeah.
So, my apologies to the collective public for being out of the loop. I knew rankings came out. I didn't look at the team. 3 through 8 separated by 8 points.
Yeah.
And Iowa, number 2, is 43 points ahead of Oklahoma State, and then Penn State's another 20-some points ahead of them.
Yep, 22 ahead.
What the heck happened?
What do you mean?
That's
not how you conceptualize the year. Well, they've got a.
I haven't run the numbers myself, right? Just kind of anecdotally thinking about it, and I know that obviously like freshmen are going to move up, and there's going to be all sorts of movement there. But
Well,
That's an approximation.
It should be close to accurate because there's not that many true freshmen that are coming in, right? Like that are going to start and make an impact.
Right. So they've got their lineup last year is going to be similar to this year, minus some big losses with Nickel, and you take out Bo, but Connell plugs in and he earns a lot of points for his team because he's ranked very high preseason because he beat the preseason number 1 twice, right? So you kind of have to plug him in high. Mark Hall, Vincenzo Joseph, and Anthony Cassaro are all ranked number 1. Mm-hmm. So you've got 3 number 1s, a third there. Berge moving up is a pretty highly ranked guy. RBY has a good ranking. Nick Lee's number 2.
What's Berge ranked now? I just on paper I would assume he's ranked 5, 6, 7.
He's 5th.
So conceptually, there's not much. There's nowhere to go but down for like Hall and Kassar and those guys. But you take a guy like Berge who's ranked 5th, and I'm gonna say he could finish 1, 2. So there's some pros and cons with them.
Well, Caleb Young's number 2 at that weight. I think.
Yeah.
And Larry Early's the one right ahead of him.
Well, apologize for sleeping on Caleb Young last year. Did you guys talk about? No, I straight up said I have no idea how he's going to do with this weight cut. Did you guys talk about Michigan still kind of figuring out if they're doing Olympic red shirts or not?
We
impact their team.
We ranked them. I'm pretty sure we ranked those guys, Stevan and Miles. I guess they're going through the process. You maybe have more information on that than I do.
Oh yeah, so a lot of their decision process is so. I talked to Coach Matt, right? Because we got so many questions about the criteria that USA Wrestling put out. Is obviously USA Wrestling based, right? U23s and all these different things that are USA Wrestling events. But the NCAA for a long time has had international athletes competing in swimming and tennis and soccer and on down the line. So yes, there is Olympic red shirts available for international athletes. The waiver situation, especially with Micic right now, is there is multiple sports. There's an appeal to the NCAA about being able to take 2 Olympic red shirts, basically because if you fall in a certain birth year and the way you end up in college, you have the opportunity to go or try to qualify for 2 Olympic Games while you're in college. And all these schools and these athletes are like, this is bullcrap that I can't pursue my Olympic dreams twice. So I imagine that's going to kind of be decided soon because every school in the country, to my knowledge, school has started a while ago. So I think based on everything we saw this year, that Michigan is in support of their guys taking Olympic red shirts, and so their team may look down this year, but simply because they're letting their guys focus on freestyle.
So there was another rule going around social media where it said you can't take an Olympic red shirt if it is your 5th or 6th year of eligibility.
Yeah, that's
is
what
that
I'm
part of
about.
The waiver too? Okay.
Yeah, that's why they're fighting it because, and again, it's not just wrestling and Micic, it's a whole bunch of other sports.
Gotcha.
They're like, I can't help that my age overlaps with 2 Olympics. And I think I should have the right to do that, which I agree with them.
Yeah, they should. Did we rank Dayton?
We did, I believe.
Yeah, he's ranked.
Number 2.
Because we didn't have an answer yet.
I think he's redshirting.
Yeah.
I don't think he's wrestling this year.
That seems to be what he thinks as well. It's what he's indicating.
Yeah.
Our policy was we're waiting for actual word before we speculate.
I don't blame you. I just because I was a little up in the air, but from what it sounded like on the ground there, I don't think he's going to go. Kyle, not that this is completely germane to wrestling, but it is the red shirt kind of rule that football has now. Didn't 2 football players that started like game 1 and 2? Didn't they just sit and just say, I'm redshirt now?
Yeah. This is something that just got put into place last year. Is you can play in 4 football games and still hold on to your red shirt.
That's crazy.
And we saw this with Kelly Bryant last year. After the 4th game, when they named Trevor Lawrence to start, he said, "Okay, well, I'm quitting the team so I can have another year next year." And he transferred to Missouri. And now De'Aaron King, the quarterback at Houston and a wide receiver, they started 1-3 to the season, and they decided that's not how they wanted to end their last season in college football. So they are essentially quitting for the year. They're still going to practice and be with the team, but they're not playing in any more games, and they're allegedly coming back to Houston next year, although I don't know if I believe that.
Christian, would you be down with guys wrestling, so 4 games, probably 12, would you be down with guys wrestling 25% of the season and still being eligible for a red shirt?
Absolutely. I would love it because, one, I just don't see the harm in it, right? 2, I think it makes duels better and more interesting. It allows you to make more informed decisions on pulling guys, and more than anything, I think the biggest point is the forfeit situation in duels. You shouldn't have a completely capable guy that you can't use because he's redshirting in one match. Just blows this whole thing up. I don't know how that gets abused. I don't know how you abuse it, right?
Yeah,
I don't see the downside.
If you have a match limit, if you have a dual match limit, and then you say, so they compete unattached at tournaments. So basically CKLV is the only one where you can't go to, and then maybe a couple others, but mainly CKLV. And then so they have, most teams have 14 competition dates, so 4 or 5 duels. You literally can't abuse it.
Yeah.
Because if you go over, then it's all right. Well, you wrestled 6 matches. You're not redshirting.
All it would do is make
could change a duel
result. Meets better.
Yeah.
It would make dual meets better. You would have to, the way I understand it, for it to be effective, you would also have to change the travel rule, I think, because they're only allowed to travel with like 12 or something.
I think
like
it's
that,
13.
Right? 13?
Yeah.
Which maybe that wouldn't even have to change.
Yeah,
you know, because
not.
You bring the 3 redshirt. I mean, Mark Hall, I remember the year guys redshirt, he was going on basically all the trips, right? And then they used him when they were ready to at Iowa.
When they announced they were doing this rule for football, they said that the committee was looking in how to apply it to other sports.
Should be easy.
It's been almost 2 years now. I'm not sure when we'll see a ruling on that, but yeah, it feels like it can easily work for every sport, like you're saying, just like 25% of the season, you know?
Yeah, it's not hard.
Yeah.
Not hard to do. So, okay. We're kind of all over the place.
It is going, I'm going to be very honest, it is going to take me time to get back into folk style. I have been so freestyle dominant here for months. So thank you to the Who's Number One kids who are wrestling freestyle. That's going to make it a little easier.
Although I started digging in already right before the show today, digging into Super 32 entries and working on it because there's no time. I have to start digging into it now because we're going to Who's Number One and I'll be preoccupied there. And then the sheer numbers of Super 32. I mean, I just did 106. There's 165 entries, and there's literally 50 names that you would have to consider as maybe medal threats, placing threats. So, and that's one weight, and so you have to do that for 14 weights, and I got to get cracking now.
Holy cow. So
Folk Style is back this weekend, though, on FloWrestling, Journeyman, Fall Classic.
Yeah.
It's actually a really good field. I was looking through it last night. Nick Bouzakis jumped off the page at me, I know. I'm trying to remember more guys. But, yeah, it's a good field. Frank Pop puts on a good event.
First time
Frank Pop,
for Sam Bouzakis.
Frank Pop puts he sends me the entry list. He said, Willie, group these guys, put these guys in groups and send an Excel file back to me. It's like Chamizo's wrestling right now, Frank. I have to get to that in a little bit.
Hey, is there another Aruja, but he goes by
George.
the Russian
Yes.
last name?
Yes.
Why?
Yep.
I don't know.
Is it with the
Because-
O? Like O-R?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. George. What are we going to do there?
I'm pumped for
I don't know.
Elijah Diaco.
Why'd you call him Lige?
Because they call him
They
Lige.
don't call him Lige?
No, they call him Lige.
George Arujov.
I'm going to need confirmation on that.
He's not like the others. He's like
He's big.
5'10" already. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gonna be wrestling like 160,
Well, how's he going to
170
spell his
pressure.
name? Are George and Lige going to just change the way they spell their last name? I'm fine with however they want to spell it. But can we be uniform as brothers?
I'm all in on younger brothers just completely being different than their older siblings.
Okay, can't you dye your hair? Do you have to change your last name?
No, I'm with it.
It's a Rujal, but it's with an O this time.
I'm with it.
You know, our trip to Kazakhstan did not come without nomad takes.
Well,
while we were there.
I'm glad to bring this up, Willie, because someone on Facebook asked what was the weirdest thing Nomad did in Kazakhstan.
Well, he did several odd things. Nah, it was actually mostly normal. He did have. Can I put this out there? I don't know if I can put this out there, but I'm going to, Nomad.
Sounds good.
I love you, and you'll get over it. Nomad successfully had a Tinder date in Kazakhstan. So that happened. But no, I think she was good looking too. Redhead. Nomad found the one redhead in Kazakhstan. Yeah, I'm telling you. It was the last night. Me and Nomad are there having fellowship, and he's like, I gotta go. And I'm like, what do you mean you gotta go? Where you going? What do you mean you gotta go? Where you gonna go? He's like, well, I said you got a date. He goes, yeah. I said, somebody picking you up? Yeah. So he did that. I said, make sure you're back by 5:30 a.m. because I'm driving to the airport at that time. I said, if you're not there, I'll just take your bag to the airport. How about that? He goes, all right. But all was well. But the weirdest thing, I don't know if it's the weirdest thing because I can't collect all of them right now in my brain, but him and Bader were thoroughly convinced that Kazakhstan had a state-mandated ordinance in which they reproduce more often. They have to have kids.
A lot of babies in Kazakhstan.
There was not that many babies for a major city.
That may not be that much of a leap. I mean,
no.
You know,
you can't make humans procreate.
Yeah.
You can't say it. If you don't have a baby, you're being taxed 40%.
Very, very simply, in many religions, including like Catholicism, right? It's like birth control and things of that nature are frowned upon, right? Forms of, So I don't know Kazakh law. I don't know the culture of Kazakh, but there could definitely be something like that. But like, hey, we don't use, any sort of preventative measures.
Sure.
It's very, very simple.
Sure, but not state mandated. You must reproduce. Number one, and number two, they were going way overboard. Like they were like babies are everywhere, which was not true. It was like if you go to Austin, there's babies. If you go to Dallas, there's babies. If you go to Seattle, there's babies. There was not per capita more babies in Nur Sultan than anywhere else.
We need
certainly not enough to say that this is state mandated ordinance.
Well, it may not be state mandated, but it could be just culturally, part of. You know what? I think we pause on that. I think we regroup, do a little research, all of us. We come back Tuesday with a little more built-out theories.
Quick update on Facebook. World champion Kyle Dake is listening and said that George and Vugar have the same last name.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, of course they do.
I know, but then Vito.
But why doesn't Vito?
Right.
Nick?
And, yeah, Nerriman.
I believe it has something to do with their mother.
Okay. All right, well, we're learning a lot on this show. Thanks, world champion Kyle Dake. Congrats on winning Worlds 2 times.
Doesn't have anything to do with your mother.
Kyle, since you're listening, why don't you? It'd be pretty cool if you put. It'd be pretty cool if you put your Olympic weight in the Facebook chat. That'd be a cool way to break the news to the world. So just think about it. No pressure, but if the Facebook chat got the exclusive on the Kyle Dake weight, what a payoff for. Because there's some loyal listeners in there that listen to every single show.
Yep.
But, ball's in your court, Kyle, and we'll move on from there. Why don't we take it to – okay,
the
I have
beach?
We're going to take it to the beach.
Take it to the sand.
We're not going to take it to the sand or the beach. Want to give a quick shout-out. Mike Ironman, nominated for Hometown Hero. Would love it if you guys – what's the quickest way they can vote for him, Kyle Brackey?
Maybe we should pin a tweet, but
maybe we should pin a tweet.
It's in our Instagram. The link to vote is in our Instagram bio. It's super easy. Just click on the link, then click Mike Ironman. He's in a battle right now with Pam Kitchen of gymnastics.
Yeah, classic Pam Kitchen.
But he'll win $25,000. So that will obviously be huge for Mike, and he's done a lot for wrestling. So it'd be really awesome if we could give back to him.
Yeah.
Pam Kitchen?
Hey,
yes.
Don't besmirch the name. They showed a video.
She has an amazing story, right?
Amazing. You should watch. You really should watch. You will like. I want Mike to win, but you will be like, I kind of think she should win, but I voted for Mike. I mean, her story is so sad. She's like such an inspiration. Like,
I think that's how you'll feel with all the nominees.
Yeah.
Because they all make huge impacts in their sport and in their community, and that's why we're doing this award. But come on, it's Mike.
It's Mike Ironman. It's Mike Ironman.
Mike Ironman.
At the end of the day, it's Mike Ironman, and you should vote for him.
I don't know. With all due respect to Mrs. Kitchen, I don't know that I can, of sound mind, vote for even an incredible person named Pam Kitchen.
She can't help her last name. Okay. Hey, Kyle, you promised 2 straight weeks. You have to deliver. The people want it.
Alien Hour?
I need it. It's time for Kyle Brackey's Alien Hour.
All right, so this came out last week in between shows when I was on Tuesday and when I was forced to go to the offsite on Thursday. But
forced to race go-karts.
No, listen, the first 4 hours we're just sitting in a room listening to people present. It was awful, but then we did go do go-karts and it was awesome. But the Navy has confirmed videos. We talked about the Navy encouraging pilots to report sightings to them, and that they wanted to get rid of the stigma that comes with reporting those sightings. The Navy has confirmed videos of unidentified flying objects, that they don't know what they are, that they were taken by Navy pilots doing training exercises. And Christian, are you concerned that the Navy doesn't know what these things are?
Is it concerning that the Navy is seeing things in the air and they don't know what they are? That's
Yes.
a little concerning.
Yeah.
That is a little concerning. Could be anything, though.
Could it?
Doesn't mean... Yeah, absolutely.
Because the one video, because they're in...
Where's the video?
They're in restricted airspace.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry, I'll show you. There's 3 different videos.
Got it.
One from 2004, and then 2 from 2015. That is pretty ridiculous. This group called To the Stars Academy of Arts and Science.
Oh, sounds
released.
very credible.
I mean, they are. They're literally working with the government.
I got my doctorate at To the Stars University.
Okay. You don't want to listen?
No, I'm listening.
Maybe you should leave the room.
Open mind. Sorry.
So anyways, they released the videos, and they said that it had cleared all the clearance to be released, for approved for public release is what they call.
Yeah.
But the Navy says they were not. They were not approved for public release. They're not sure how they got out, but they confirmed that they are from the Navy and they are real, and that they don't know what they are. But in the one video, you can hear the pilots talking, and they're like, what in the hell is this thing? Because it's flying into the wind that's going 120 knots, they say. And this can't be a drone. Like, it's flying. It wouldn't be able to fly into that kind of wind.
Where can we see these, Kyle?
I'll link you.
He has an alien truther blog.
And then another one. No, it's literally on NBC News, CNN, ABC. Like, it's everywhere.
I've literally never heard of any of those.
The History Channel. I mean, it's.
Okay, I know that.
This is big news.
Okay.
And I mean, if the Navy can't figure out what something is, do you think some other countries like aircraft got into a Navy training area and was just flying around?
There's some bold countries, absolutely.
I don't.
Very brazen.
If they did, we would have shot them down so quick.
Anthony
Very
Ashnault
brazen.
style.
Yeah, we would have shot them down very quickly. We would have realized what that was.
We can shoot this thing down.
Why don't we shoot
Why
this
don't we
thing
shoot?
down?
Because we knew.
You know what,
wasn't-
Navy? Shoot them down.
Maybe they should start.
What is the point of restricted airspace if you don't shoot down the things that come into your airspace? Scared money don't make money. Gun these things down.
Did you just call the Navy scared?
No. Just saying. There's no reason to not shoot them down, right?
I agree. From now on, we should shoot first. Ask
And
questions
until
later.
they shoot them down, aliens aren't real.
Okay, I don't know. That's not.
And
true,
also, for once, you know, I used to when I was a kid, a child, and I indulged such thoughts as alien existence. I always thought, you know what? Can they get a good camera on any of these? Can they get some decent footage? Not everything be shot on the camera where you put the cassette tape into it. Everything looks terrible every single time. Totally grainy, not clear. It's always happens to be at night, or it happens to be in a situation where you can't get good footage of it. Why is that the case?
I mean, if you were an alien, would you want people
yeah,
to discover you?
It's the same thing with Bigfoot. He knows how to not be seen.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, with Bigfoot. Bigfoot's so fake. The aliens maybe, but no, because
You don't think there's a large hairy creature with an abnormally huge foot?
No, I don't. Because where's the dead bodies of them?
But the odds
could be immortal.
of aliens are much more likely.
I suppose. Maybe not, though. I don't know if
Maybe
they're
not. Yeah,
No.
16 bajillion planets and stars and just vast openness in space. The odds are there's some other thing that is sentient.
Sentient beings. You love saying sentient beings. Okay. That's a good alien hour. The Navy's involved. That helps your case, but I want to see some high-quality video. Next time, let's have a little video evidence before we go around saying.
I mean, we do. So
That might be what unites the world.
really? Against the, like,
One
Independence
day.
Day?
One day in our lifetime, it's just going to be a given. There's aliens here. You know, we've seen them. We talk to them. Sometimes we talk to them.
So you think
There's
they
footage of them?
take human form and we converse with these sentient beings?
No. I'm going to say one day it's just going to be that we know that there's aliens, and they come, they visit and stuff, and
We just throw in barbecues.
just-
And
I don't see what
Yeah.
it hurts to not believe.
I don't think it hurts anything.
we probably have to develop new weight classes because they can't wrestle 106.
No.
They're probably like 94. You know, they're
There's
smaller.
Do you think they're smaller?
Yeah.
There's a sect out there that
They don't have
believes,
McDonald's on the other planets.
there's a sect out there that believes Jesus is an alien.
Okay.
Heals people, super advanced
There's-
medicine, ascends
No,
to
man,
heaven,
there's a
right?
sect
Tractor
out
beam.
there.
Rose from the
There's
dead.
a sect out
Rose
there
from
that
the
thinks
dead.
the Earth is flat.
Yeah. There's a lot of sects that exist.
Whoa.
There is
Oh, not like that.
in Kazakhstan.
Yeah.
You ever-
Especially in Kazakhstan, where it's literally mandated.
Nomad was
It's like that
mandated.
scene. It's like that scene in
have
Dazed
that
and
Tinder date.
Confused when they're on the water tower. It's like, how many people do you think are out there just, you know what I mean? You seen that? Dazed
No.
and Confused. Oh my God! You
Hey,
haven't seen Dazed and
He
Confused?
hasn't seen any movie ever.
No. Hey, but you know what?
What?
Should Nomad...
It's filmed in Austin.
Hold on. Should Nomad be a little worried? If it's state mandated, never mind. I just don't want... Never mind. I don't want letters from
What?
Kazakhstan.
Does nobody have a kid in Kazakhstan now?
He doesn't have a kid in Kazakhstan.
To be the next great Kazakhstan wrestler to qualify the weight.
Oh, wow. That would be beautiful. Okay. Let's
His
get up
name
to-
would be Nomad Nayazbekov.
Nomad Nye is back off. Let's get to some more questions. By more, I mean the first one. We haven't begun this. But lots of great questions. And I want to start with Austin Denson's, who wants us to come up with the top contenders for 57. We've kind of talked about this, but I really want to let's flesh this out. Who's coming down? Now, you guys were waging war against my Tyler Graff.
It was absurd. He was 25 pounds overweight, according to the NJRTC Twitter.
That's not what that said.
That is what that said. It said he was 16 and a half pounds over 134.
I thought he said he was... Mm-hmm. So he was 8 kilos over?
Yes!
I think it literally said 8 kilos over.
Oh, my word. So, okay. 16,
Tyler.
132, 125. Well, it's like 23 pounds. It's like 23 pounds, actually.
Tyler, far be it from me to tell you what to do. It is your Olympic dream. It is not mine. However, when I see things like that, I am led to believe that you will be in great calamitous danger if you attempt to make 57 kilos.
Calamitous danger? He made it 2 years ago.
On the day before weigh-in.
Okay.
So, Tyler, you know what's best for you and your body. You have great people around you. However, I strongly recommend against it.
Hey, he's going to have to make some changes. I acknowledge that.
Listen, I don't want Johnny DeJulius jumping off of airplanes. I don't want him hanging off I-beams that are 3,000 feet in the air from one arm. And I don't want Tyler Graff making 57 kilograms.
All right, so this is a matter of we care about you.
Yes.
We love you. We can't see that. All right, fine. But
what's up with the NJRTC guys in calamitous danger all the time?
I mean, that's literally Downey's middle name is probably Calamitous Danger. So I think my list has Graff. You cannot have Graff in your list, but to me, Dayton, Spencer, Suriano, Gilman, Cologne, Nashon, Gross, and Graff. Gross in Calamitous Danger.
Close.
He wrestled 138 at Fargo in like 2014.
I'm worried about him too.
Okay.
Again, they're Olympic dream, not mine, but
it's only 1 kilo less for Sean Foz than the world team he made in 2013.
All right.
Nico?
Oh, Nico. Yes, of course, Nico.
Now, Nico seems like he could make it more safely than some of these other guys.
He only made 125 for 5 years. So, yeah, Nico's definitely involved. I guess Clark's in there. Okay.
Darian was on the national team this year. Vito, Zane Richards did good this year. I know we're getting kind of far down the rabbit hole,
that's
but
down the rabbit hole.
But I mean, that's basically all of your. These are all the guys I mentioned going to qualify for the trials.
Here's the guys that I could say, yup, could see him on the team. Totally get it. Dayton, Spencer, Suriano, Gilman, Nashon, Gross. I think those guys. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 guys that I could totally see. I don't think there's another weight where I could totally see 6 guys making the Olympic team. Is there?
65. I go.
It's probably
4
the
or
only
5
one
deep.
that would be close. Yeah.
74 is 2 guys. Well, maybe 2, Kyle. I don't know.
He never answered.
Kyle. All right. Maybe 2. Maybe
Hey,
not.
crowdsource here.
Crowdsourcing.
Okay. I cannot for the life of me understand how these Olympic trials brackets are going to be shaped. So
I told you.
I know, but you didn't explain to me the bye situation. So
It's not going to be just
Yes, I
8.
did.
Kyle Dake and Jaden Cox, as non-Olympic weight world medalists, will get byes to the semifinals. So
Right.
what we have learned is that by semifinals, it means they will have to wrestle 2 matches to get to the finals. So Kyle Dake will have to beat Mackay and Isaiah Martinez, just throwing 2 names out there, to make it to Jordan Burroughs, who sits in the best of 3 finals. However,
The interesting thing.
Well, let him go.
however, when you have someone with a bye to the semis, which is a completely unusual bracket tweak, I need a calculus major to explain to me how the byes shape out so that there's not an extra match in there somewhere.
No, you don't.
Yes.
I showed you. I drew the bracket.
You just
for
have
you.
two.
I know, but that you showed me a bracket that is completely not going to be how it's made. I promise you, it will look nothing like that.
These brackets are in calamitous danger, Willie, and you have to face that.
No, it's. I showed you what it will be, and that's what it will be. The only thing that I don't quite understand is where. Let's say there's only one. Okay, let's say there's only one non-Olympic. What are you laughing at?
My stomach just grumbled so loudly.
Good, like 8 full seconds.
Daddy's hungry.
I think I'm going on keto.
You are not.
Willie,
Willie, you're Italian. Do you know what? All right.
I know.
No one explained what keto means to Willie. Willie, that means no pasta, no bread.
I know. It's tough. That would be tough. But you're telling me that I can eat bacon and steaks? I was like, okay, you can't eat spaghetti. That's cool. I'll have butter and lobster.
Will you?
Difficult. That's a fair trade-off.
There's a lot of carbs in certain libations.
And then I go straight whiskey.
Oh my gosh! You're gonna have a heart attack.
No, it's actually.
You have to accompany it. You have to accompany it with
better for you.
Some other lifestyle choices.
You're gonna get demerits on Twitter.
Oh, why?
For what?
Because drinking
Budweiser?
whiskey. If he drinks whiskey,
Why?
he will tweet audacious things.
Oh yeah, you're gonna get so many demerits.
Hey,
you're gonna get demerits.
That was another thing about Kazakhstan.
I have a new policy for myself on Twitter.
They have Jameson like it's going out of style.
In Kazakhstan?
Every single establishment we went to
that is
had
state mandated.
Jameson everywhere. Just bottles and bottles and bottles of it. And I don't know why Jameson over Jack Daniels or any other kind of whiskey.
Nomad had this theory. It wasn't even a theory, but it was pretty accurate. He said that Kazakhstan did everything 85% right. And we would walk around town and he would see that he'd be like, there, 85% roll. Almost good, but 15% just weird.
Okay, let's give a couple examples.
I love it.
Okay, when you go to the bathroom, toilet paper in America, there's a roll in between, right, that you take off when it's empty, right? And and that makes it easier to spin. They don't have that. That is not a thing in Kazakhstan. So
they don't have the roll?
So it's just two things on the side, and then you have to jimmy in the paper. So it's constantly falling out like this, and then also just the toilets themselves. I don't even know how to explain it. There's like that much water in it.
Oh boy!
And
sounds messy.
The angle that it creates it leaves room for messes. Willie, help me out here. I don't know how to explain this.
Oh boy!
I don't think we want it. It's graphic in nature.
Yeah.
They clearly have not figured out the plumbing situation.
We know you. We know how you feel about it, Willie. You've been tweeting it. You just kept revisiting it.
The toilets don't make sense. The bathtub was on a 3-foot platform, and they were tubs. They were tubs, and they were like jacuzzi tubs that had like peaks and valleys on the floor. So you would stand up in it, but it was almost like you were surfing because it's not level. And then you had to use this hand thing. There's not a shower curtain in Nur Sultan, maybe Central Asia. I don't know. Water got everywhere, especially when that one there, Nomad would take a shower and it looked like a tsunami hit.
Willie, that is incorrect.
Okay.
It is permanently. Anyway. Okay, so one really nice thing, all the doors had green dots or red dots, right? Green dots mean like, okay, this is a door that opens. Red dots means whatever. It's just for decoration. But you know how in America, if you look at the top of most doors in like residential commercial buildings, there is a mechanism to make the door close slowly so that, if you're bringing things in or whatever, you don't get slammed on your ass, right? Not a thing in Kazakhstan. All of the doors in Kazakhstan slam closed immediately. In the airport, there are just pillars in the middle of walkways, including in the third floor of Nur Sultan Airport. I don't even know how to describe this. So there's like, you have a cafe, right, where you can get your coffee or whatever in the morning and there's just jutting pillars right over you. Yeah, I-beams that the line can only go one deep.
Wow.
Yeah, it made zero sense. You'd have to see it. I just don't understand the plumbing situation. I also don't understand the weird fascination, and this goes for Europe too, Europe and Asia. What is your weird fascination with bidets? Why?
Bidets. How about Willie? How about the turnaround when we were leaving the arena every day? So the arena. First of all, there's one road in Nur Sultan. So there's the main drag, right? And the way you have to get out of the arena, you can't make a left, so you have to turn around. But instead of like you go to the light and then you make a left or you make a U-turn, there's this pull-off on a construction area that everyone hits, and at that point it just becomes lawlessness. Mm-hmm. So Willie would drive up.
But there's also right in the turnaround. That's not really like it's not really a road. It's just everybody does it.
Yeah, it's very
formal. It's just a free for all. It's a mosh pit of cars going like this. But also, there is a quarry directly behind that. And sometimes giant dump trucks would come right at the cars and park and lay on the horn as if we were doing something wrong.
Oh, man.
Also, just when they're driving, so in America, you keep 15 feet in between yourself and the other car when you're both in the turn lane, right? Like when you're in the suicide lane. In Kazakhstan, it's you're nose to nose before you make a turn, which is very worrisome. There's just a whole bunch of most of the way there, but then some things are just I don't get it. I can't understand it.
It's different. What were we talking about anyway?
So that was Worlds. We were talking about 57 kilogram contenders, and it led to someone's death. Okay. Is Willie going to try Casey's Pizza? Who's number one? Yes, he has already promised he will. He has to do it.
I will.
We'll videotape it, and we'll upload it to the website and maybe even social media. Okay, if you Cameron Loomis, if you could pick the team title in 2020 to come down to one of these matchups, who would you pick to bring it home for the USA? Burrow Sidikov, Dake for Sidikov, Cox for Sadulayev, or Snyder versus Sadulayev? Okay. Wow, we really have to kind of pick a whole thing here.
Well, factually speaking, 97 is the last match.
Well, okay, but no, if you could pick.
I know, I'm just saying.
But we get to pick. We get to pick the order. It's a total fantasy land, and it's coming down to this match. Who do you want to have the hammer? So it means it's the finals. Jordan Ernest Burroughs has never lost a medal match. I feel like we're just hanging on to these little trivia bits.
Burrow Sidikov.
If he's on the team, that's just such a sweet way for his story to end, right? If he makes it.
It's not going to end, though. It's not going to end, though.
He's going to keep going? You think? 2024? 2028?
In my heart.
No, you have no. Hold on. It ain't just in your heart. You can't say that. Say something else. Give me something to think. Is he gonna take 2021 off and then maybe see what's up?
He ain't done. My man's ain't done. It ain't time. The 2020.
I agree.
In a lot of our heads, it sort of kind of makes sense. I don't fault anybody. It's obviously it's gone through my head. 2020 is probably a reasonable time for you to think that Jordan Burroughs will call it a career. It ain't gonna be.
Wow.
He's gonna keep going.
I think I don't know. We talked about this yesterday or Tuesday. I actually mentioned maybe that's not it. Maybe he takes 2021 and then kind of ramps back up, does it again. Because more than anything, he has not regressed recently. He's not won, right? He hasn't won since 2017, right? Bronze the last 2 years, but he lost to the champ at the last second, so he's right there to win it still.
Both years. He beat Chamizo several times,
he's widened the gap on him. So while his matches still are terrifying, and especially his first two matches this year, it's very scary things happening, but he's still finding ways to win those matches. Yeah. Well, that's really interesting. So that's not it. Okay. I'll say. Well, I think you have to say not Sadulayev because that is. I mean, the guy just doesn't even have close matches, much less lose them. So, I'll say Burroughs Sidikov, but I think Dake matches up great against Sidikov too. I think that's an awesome matchup. You know, agree?
Not that I know agree, but
no, it's not that I know agree. It's
no. Okay, so here's why. But first of all, we're gonna have a rep at 74 kilos next year that can win the Olympics.
They're gonna win the Olympics.
That is very obvious.
Signed.
Whether it's Jordan Ernst Burroughs or Kyle Douglas Dake, we certainly have a 74 kilo that can win the Olympics. However, when you look at well, this is actually could be interesting now that I'm talking it out. When you look at how Dake is extremely, tremendously amazing leg defense-wise, right? But Sidikov's stuff is mainly upper body and leg attacks that are not the type of things that necessarily Dake is how Dake gets you, right? So he has the slide by, which he didn't really hit much here, but everything he scored the same way off.
No, he hit it
Chorizo
earlier
and
round.
Brozos. Yeah, okay, fine. He hit it against Mexico and Poland. Great.
Don't sleep.
He goes left. Everything that Sidikov does is based off lefty collar tie, and he digs the underhook. And against Burroughs and Chorizo, both times, he popped the underhook, dropped down, and it was same side knee pick where you drop to the ankle. And I forget which one he dropped the ankle and which one he just grabbed the knee. But like, that's not necessarily where Dake's strongest, right? Dake's strongest when you're diving at his legs, and he can get you in a chest wrap position or a crotch lock position. That's not necessarily going to end up in a crotch lock position. However, where Dake is better than Burroughs is upper body. Mm-hmm. And if he can get it into an upper body position, well, then now we got some fun. So I don't necessarily know that he's a better matchup, but it's certainly different and more interesting and will be fun to break down.
Is there a chance that Kyle Douglas could go find Sidikov somewhere and wrestle him in a tournament? Urigan?
Yeah, I mean, he could do Urigan. I don't think if I'm to
Dude, rankings tournaments.
They're not gonna send him.
Well, first of all, they're not gonna go to Henri Deglaine. Russia's just not, which I think is what's gonna end up being the first ranking series tournament. I don't think the DF lets him go to Urigan either.
Ranking series tournaments and continental qualifiers and the last chance qualifier are going to be awesome. There are so many guys. I think that Worlds it was the first real time that seeds kind of materialized enough to matter, number one. And I think that people will want the seeds. And I think we're going to see a high participation rate among the best guys to try to get those seeds, number one. And number two, the qualifying events have so many studs that are not qualified. Haji Aliyev, Kanchinguishvili. I mean, these guys aren't qualified for the Olympics. The season, the world is going to have a season, and it's going to be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's move on to the next question. Excuse me. Which wrestler has improved the most since 16? Cox, Snyder, Dake, Taylor, and why?
This one's easy.
I think it's easy. It's David Taylor.
Yeah.
David went from and you know he lost to Dake and he didn't make the team. He wrestled back for third in 16, but he jumped major levels from 2016 16 to 18 was like boom, which is kind of crazy to think about. But he just got way better.
Yeah. Either he got way better or just unlocked his fully formed self, because there's just absolutely no way in 2016 you could have said David Taylor at any weight could potentially tech his way through Worlds.
Right.
Which
rewind. What did you guys say?
Who's improved the most
No.
since 16? Oh.
Yeah, I got that. What did you guys say that Taylor did in 16?
Well, he lost to Dake in the semis, and Jaden made the team,
Okay.
and Jaden got bronze.
Yeah.
He lost to Dake multiple times. And not the Dake losing. I don't even know. You kind of throw that out.
Yeah,
but
it's not the Dake thing so much. Just comparison to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he won a world title. He beat Jaden Cox in one of the matches. I mean, yeah, He's a world champ. You know, I would say him.
And also the level that Cox, Snyder, and Dake were at in 2016. Cox was bronze. He was right there to make. I mean, very reasonably could have been in the Olympic finals, and he beat Salas Perez, who'd been a thorn in America's side for years. He beats that guy, qualifies away, all the things he did, right? Snyder in 2016, he was the Olympic champ in 2016. Now, he hasn't won the last 2 years.
What about? I mean, I agree that David has jumped massive amounts of levels, but Jaden has jumped from bronze to losing to Makoev. He's jumped to he's probably pound for pound, and some people are saying the best matchup that you could possibly put together in a perfect world would be Jaden Cox against Sedgelayev.
That's also why I get back to, and the same question I have with David, is it got better or like unlocked whatever was holding him back, whatever verbiage you want to use.
Yeah, I mean, there's a case for Cox. I guess the reason I'm not saying him is because the level I believe he was at 2016 compared to David's, right? Yeah. And David chewing his way through 86, frankly, just means more than doing that at 79 or 92. Those weights are just
beating
that much tougher. And beat a pound for pound guy
and beating
twice.
A pound for pound guy in Chirati
2 times.
Yeah.
So that's my vote, is David. Doesn't mean he's better than Jaden or any of those guys. I do think he's the most improved. Okay, you guys missed it. 2 days ago. Kyle went off about Joey Gunther. So
what happened?
It was appreciated by some of the fans, and you just got to go back and listen to it. But Jonathan Weinstein asked, what would it take to get Kyle Brackey to rant about wrestling as a weekly segment? His missive on Joey Gunther was pure gold. I need more of it on Flow.
I don't know if it'll be a weekly thing, but there's definitely stuff during the season that will fire me up, and I'm sure we can get maybe like a KB rant thing or something.
So your primary goal here, we're going to spin this a little bit. Your primary goal here is to inspire some of these wrestlers that you feel right now were offensively challenged to do things that their coaches want them to do, which is put up points.
No, my goal is not to inspire them.
Yeah.
My goal is to never have to watch it again in my life. I don't understand. Willie, I don't understand why he wrestles. I'm doubling down on it. I don't get it.
Hey, I'm with you. And I don't know particularly Joey Gunther, but I don't know why a lot of people wrestle.
I retweeted.
I don't know why people go out there and don't take an attempt for 7 minutes. What are you doing this for?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why are you putting yourself through hell if you're not even go out there and take shots or try to score points?
These dudes go through hours of practice, hours of training. All right, pal, slap you on the ass, go out there, and you do nothing. What are you doing?
I retweeted a tweet I remember I had from Big Tens, and I tweeted. Let me pull it up again.
Pull up that retweet.
It did really well because everyone was with me. He wrestled Carson Brolsma, and Carson Brolsma chased him around the mat forever. I said
that was bad.
I said Joey Gunther just wrestled for 10 minutes, didn't take a single shot, and won. I'm #done. So I've actually been #done with him since March 9th, 2019. He
said #done 2 days ago too.
And everyone was with me in the replies. I got 8 retweets and 318 likes.
Wow.
Someone said, "Don't hate the player, hate the game." Nope, not gonna do that.
Did you run a points per match on Joey? Was it low?
Well, he won 7 matches last year, scoring 3 points or less.
Okay.
That's gross.
That would imply a lack of offensive output.
Yeah.
Even less from his opponents, though.
He had 2.
How about his opponents?
He had 2.
Maybe they're just trying to slow him down.
Shut up. He had 2 bonus point victories last year, and they both came against non-D1 guys.
Okay.
They're the only guys that'll actually open up and wrestle him.
No, I'm done, guys. You should be too. I got some support for my take. Let us know who else you're done with. I'm sorry.
Who else were some guys that just didn't do anything?
Why are we're gonna have everyone hate us?
We're almost there already, anyway.
Yeah, I am. I know that.
I'm down for an open plea for guys to score more points this year.
Yeah.
I just cannot comprehend it. I just cannot comprehend like going out there and not doing anything. And so many guys do it. I don't like understand where the joy comes from. Like don't you want to go out there and mix it up and really give yourself a chance to win? I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what though, he's perfected winning in tiebreaker 2. 3-0 last year in tiebreaker 2.
You know who was undefeated in? I think you might have brought it up.
Artolona.
Anthony Artolona, 7-0, sudden victory.
Tony Artoloni, as we don't call him.
Yeah, but Anthony Artolona took some shots, I thought.
Artolona can be very reserved.
He's
in matches.
defensive.
He can be very, very reserved in matches.
But he was a true freshman.
And I
He's
wonder
apparently going up, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be good for his offensive output too. I think
Eating?
not having to cut so much, he will be much more willing to get after it.
Any college news that we missed while we were gone?
I'm trying to
Like
think.
stuff like that. Artolona moving up or Kirkley.
Kale stepped down. That was big.
All right.
He's going to try to
Missed
make the
that
Olympic
headline.
team.
That would be wild.
Yeah, he called out David. It was different. No, not really much happened. That didn't happen. No, I don't think so. There's maybe some weight change stuff.
What weight were people the most pissed off with the rankings?
Oh, some Marinelli stuff because he's ranked behind Joseph, but I think he got 7th, so he's ranked ahead of a lot of guys that he
People are mad that
outplaced. Yeah, not many. There wasn't a lot of
65 is
outrage.
weird because he owns 2 wins over Vincenzo Joseph, but then also
That
took
was the
7th
exact.
and lost.
That was the exact situation last year.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They complained about that exactly last year. Why is he behind? He beat Joseph. Well,
Well, I think and partially his 2 losses. He had 2 losses, I want to say. Are they not to 2 guys that are not in the field this year? Mark,
Okay.
Chance to make him dance, and
This is okay, but this is my
and
thing,
Mekhi.
people.
okay.
This is my thing, people. When the season ends and someone is behind someone else and you don't say anything, and then the next year starts and that person is still behind that person, what happened? What happened in 6 months' time? We're all aware. We are all aware. Collectively, everybody in this room, everyone FloWrestling is aware Alex Marinelli's 2-0 against Vincenzo Joseph. However, when one guy gets 2nd and one guy gets 7th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. That, but, I mean, I get it a little bit. But also, people don't check the final rankings as near as with the level of
You don't have to check it. It says it right there. It says previous.
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying is they didn't complain then because they didn't look at them then.
Well.
Shame on them. Okay. Hey, it's 9:37. We got anything else before we bid a sweet farewell?
I need from the people stuff to look for in college this year, like that we don't already know. Like give me some juicy nugget.
Joey Gunther resurgence.
That'd be cool.
Offensive juggernaut.
That'd be cool.
If he changes the way he wrestles, I'll take back everything I said.
Okay.
But I think he is going up to 74. I don't know if that will help, hurt, whatever. But
Is 49 one of the most anticipated weights? Maybe the most?
I have so many most anticipated weights. 125, 141, because who knows? 149.
133 is still up there for me.
I just think Seth Gross gonna shut him down.
Maybe,
Open
but
up shop.
Seth Gross is tremendously good at folkstyle wrestling.
Yeah.
I guess I just mean I'm ready to watch Austin DeSanto again.
Yep, I'm right there with you.
Okay.
I need him to wrestle freestyle. We can't have
Is-
these long hiatus.
Is 184 going to be an S
It kind of
show?
adds to his legend.
You're
You
right.
just don't know what the hell he does.
Okay.
Is 184 going to be an S show?
I think he's just gonna.
Yeah. Beyond that,
Oh yeah,
like 2 through 20.
it's gonna be a bonanza. Cash Wilkie.
I mean, we got Darmstadt, Bonacorsi, Lujan, Colbray, Rashid, Venz, Bolin, Dupre, Wilkie. That's your top 10. That is number 1. It's a fun top 10, just like in terms of the things they do. Number 2, that is a roller coaster-y top 10 that will lose matches.
Yeah.
Then we get into Hazel, Caffey, Wisman, Hidley. Yeah, that 84 is going to be a mess.
The Hoagie and Hunter Bolin, the pride of the ACC.
When are they're going to wrestle? That's going to be good.
That'll be a good one. Okay, Caleb, we're ready. Play us out. Thank you guys so much. 410 strong. It's good to have.
I totally screwed up. My apologies to all the Maryland people out there. I had no idea what number I was coming back to. This is 410. This is the Baltimore area code, and I completely dropped the ball.
Ayo. Shout out to B-More. Shout out to the Kazakhstan brothers.
Shout out to Baltimore County.
Baltimore County, city, any of the other municipalities.
Hey, is Pat Downey living at your parents' house?
That was amazing.
Shoot.
Yeah, Caleb Miracle goes, so is Pat Downey actually homeless? And I was like, he's in between places right now, maybe couch surfing. And Downey quote tweets and goes, I'm at your crib right now in Parkville since you thought Rashidov beat Aliyev. That was amazing.
Wow.
I love Pat Downey.
Thank you to Pat Downey for scoring the points that made us beat Iran. Appreciate that. Appreciate you. We'll be back next Tuesday, which will be Who's Number 1 week. Watch Journeyman.
Do we have a Thursday show next week? Because Who's Number 1?
I don't know.
Watch All-American Josh Hookett play football for Fresno State on Full Football.
Watch ADCCs for crying out loud.
Oh, yeah, ADCC's lit.
It's going to be great.
They're going to be great.
Your FloWrestling subscription gets you access to all of those things.
Free to all our subscribers. Thanks so much. We'll be back Tuesday. There's no other words to say. Goodbye.